Good evening and welcome to Miami University's biannual 2021 RedHawk Venture Pitch Competition. This competition launched in the fall of 2014 and held at the end of the fall and spring semesters, feature live pitches by student founders of startups from the Altman Institute's RedHawk Launch Accelerator and the Farmer School of Business's Senior Capstone New Ventures course, all handled in a demo day style format. Tonight, you'll hear 8 student-led startups with founders representing majors across campus who will pitch to angel investors, VC, startup accelerator directors, social enterprise directors, founders of startups and high-growth companies, and leaders of public and private high-growth companies across the nation. Each startup will have 8 minutes to pitch to the judges, followed by a 5-minute Q&A. Judges have already been encouraged to post questions for the founders in a secured chat, and the Q&A will be moderated by Mark Lacker, Dr. Michael Conger, and Natalie, who is one of our assistant directors. After the final startup has completed its pitch, the judges will vote and the winners will be announced. We will actually terminate the live feed at the conclusion of the last pitch presentation, but we will post the winners on the Altman Institute's Facebook page following the event. With that, I think we're ready to get started. Thin Man, if you'd like to share your screen.
Awesome. Yeah, just give me 1 second.
And we'll start the clock when you begin pitching.
Cool. Awesome. So I think everyone can hear me and you should be able to see my screen. So we'll get started. So my name's Gage Cutler. My business is Finman Fishing Innovations. Just briefly about what we do. We have a big emphasis on American manufacturing, but we designed a product for recreational anglers who never want to forget their tools again. We have a patented rod-mounted technology that provides the functionality of 3 common tools in one, and we put that functionality at customers' fingertips. So before delving more into that, just a little bit more about my background. So I'm a 2-time entrepreneur. My first business was a fishing charter business in Northwest Michigan. I was actually a guide for 3 summers. I created my own summer job. I raised money my senior year of high school. This was a fantastic experience. I took out hundreds of clients from all over the country of various experience levels. And through that, not only was it a great business experience, but probably the coolest thing that came out of that was being able to observe the problems my customers had, which led to my second business. So those problems were, 1, people were misplacing and forgetting tools in the first place. So you can see this review under this problem that actually backs it up and points to it, but people were leaving tools in their truck, on the dock, they're dropping them in the lake, they're rolling around in the bottom of the kayak, or when we hit a wave, they're rolling around in the hull of the boat. That was a big aggravator for customers. Problem 2, people were wasting time changing lures. This is really an emotional pull. People didn't want to be wasting time. They wanted to do what they're out there to do, which was fish. They didn't want to waste time rigging. You can see this review, which is actually on my website. All these are on my website, points back to that problem as well. The third problem was actually most tools, or a lot of tools, are not made the same or up to quality standards. The tools were breaking, edges were dulling, certain types of fishing line are abrasive, and things were corroding and not holding up to the life they should have. That said, a lot of these problems that customers were encountering were happening with what I would say are the 3 most common tools in a fishing boat or in a kayak, or really amongst any recreational angler. And those are 1, a pocket knife, common pocket knife. 2, nippers, or in this case, I see a lot of tuna clippers being used to nip fishing line. And 3, household scissors. So armed with that information, I actually formed a team around that problem, and based on my past experiences. Like I said, my name's Gage Cutler. I'm a 2-time entrepreneur. I guided for 3 years as a summer job. Took out hundreds of clients. I knew if I wanted to start a product-based business to fix this problem, that I needed a CAD engineer, So I partnered with Randy Satovia, who's an incredibly talented both industrial designer, CAD designer, incredibly proficient, has 25 plus years of experience in product and machine design. I also partner with an attorney, Mark Nackey, who works at Miller Canfield in Michigan, to handle my IP, patents and trademarks, which we'll get into in subsequent slides. So what we came up with as a team was FinMan, which was a rod-mounted, like I mentioned in the first slide, a rod-mounted multi-tool that took the functionality of all three of those tools I mentioned that I saw on a common fishing boat, which were knives, nippers, and scissors. We put that functionality into a subcompact package that never got left behind because it was attached to a person's most integral piece of gear, their fishing pole. So we did that in a way that didn't interfere with anything, but offered a ton of utility, a ton of convenience, and a ton of time and cost savings from losing other tools. A little bit more about the product. One of my slogans is slice, snip, stow. So slice like a knife, snip like a nipper, and stow like a hook keeper. This is just a bit more of an up-close shot. You can see some of the aesthetic qualities of the product that we'll talk about later. But FinMan Original, one of my other slogans is your wingman on the water. It's never left behind, and it's always there, at your side, ready to go. So now that I had a physical product, I went to launch that product. I did that December 1st of 2019. I did that with a direct-to-consumer Shopify strategy for brand control and margin and cost reasons. I used Facebook ads as my primary traction or a traffic driver to that website. Now, unfortunately, after I picked up traction, there was a little bit of a slower start, but I figured out digital advertising, started using some more advanced techniques, and was actually exponentially scaling, doing almost $1,000 a day for a short amount of time before I ran out of inventory. And I didn't have a ton of time to plan for that loss of inventory. And so I ended up completely running out of inventory. And that's kind of led me into phase two, which again, I can take questions on and talk about later. The results of that launch were a blended all-channel average return on ad spend of 6. So on average, every dollar I was putting in, I was getting an average of $6 in revenue out. I sold to 48 states, 8 countries, did over $20,000 in revenue. I have 1 issued design patent, 1 pending utility patent, and a issued trademark on the word FinMan. Also, over the last 6 months, I've added bulk discounting as well as upsell software and email software that's led to a 58% increase in average order value over the last 6 months. I've also earned 4.7 out of 5-star reviews and seen an average of a little less than $3.50 in customer acquisition cost. I'm using Facebook ads on a per unit basis. I've gotten great reviews, like I mentioned. So this is one of my favorites. I'm surprised no one ever thought of this concept. Quick, efficient, and practical. It should be on every shelf wherever fishing items are sold. And a little bit about a cost breakdown here. So my MSRP is $17.95. My COGS at the moment are at a moderate scale, are about $6, which is about a 65% gross margin. And at a more high volume scale with investment in tooling and different manufacturing methods, I could get those COGS down to about $450 for about a 75% gross margin. Now, from a market size kind of analysis, worldwide, there's around 220 million recreational anglers. But for logistics and cost reasons due to shipping, we're only going to consider the US and Canada as a serviceable market, which is about 45 million. I'm taking that 45 million, assuming because this is a niche product, conservative 0.25% market penetration rate. That leads us to about 100,000 customers buying on average 5 units. I think we can sell 500,000 of these at the margins I described previously, and then diversify into other product offerings for those customers. My target market, been really popular with kayak fishermen. These are all generally niches. So kayak fishermen, surf fishermen, river fishermen, all these people, what they have in common is they have limited space to move around and they have limited ability to carry tools. So FinMan has proven a ton of value by packing utility of multiple tools that they'd have to previously carry separately and put that into one small utilitarian package. The other more mainstream market is what I just like to call the boat market. The people that are fishing from boats for a variety of species, but this market has generally followed these more niche early adopter segments that have limited space to bring tools and gear with them. My competitors, so one thing as an overarching statement, I'm able to charge a little bit more for my product as a premium price product, one based on functionality, but 2 based on the aesthetic qualities we're able to get due to innovative manufacturing techniques. So you can see here, this is actually a Shark Tank company. None of these, however, offer the convenience FinMan does. So FinMan's rod mounted. It's the only rod mounted multi-tool on the market, and that never gets left behind. All those other tools still have to be remembered to be worn or remember to be brought in the first place, and that doesn't solve any of those problems I originally saw. Also, there's no accidental cuts with FinMan. That's the #1 critique of that line cutter product or Shark Tank product I mentioned. People were accidentally cutting their hair, accidentally cutting their line. And there's also all-in-one functionality, and that's something I set out to do in the first place. There's lots of products advertised as convenience products, but if they don't do everything and you still have to reach for a secondary tool, it really eliminates the purpose of having the first tool in the first place. So ThinMan functions for all tools in around 95% of situations and is incredibly versatile. Also, like I mentioned, there's an aesthetic quality to this that's really unmatched by any other product out there or any other competitors. And that's based on the craftsmanship the engineer put in, as well as the manufacturing technology we were able to implement to get a lot more out of that area of the product and be able to extract a higher price from customers. So really the ask here is we're raising $75,000. We have $25,000 committed in a seed round, and we're seeking an additional $50,000. The uses that capital, and I'm sure this will raise questions to answer afterwards, is we really need to scale manufacturing, get our costs down. And part of that is obviously ordering and higher inventory or larger purchase orders to get that cost down, as well as investing in some engineering for that. And then once that's set in place, there's a lot of things from a distribution channel and strategic partnership standpoint that I haven't been able to tap into that I'd love to be able to tap into once manufacturing and the supply chain is in place.
Paige, that's it. 8 minutes is up.
Got it. Well, thank you so much, and ready for questions.
Super.
Yes, some questions that are coming through in the chat, and it's around the product design itself, the durability of that product, and how you're going through the manufacturing process now, and what that looks like as you change over time. Could you address those?
Yeah, so sounds like product durability, how it's holding up, and manufacturing method. Yeah, so product durability is awesome. So basically there's only two custom components. There's a custom blade that's manufactured. This is all done in the States currently. A custom blade, it's stainless steel, it holds up from corrosion, and it's hard. The steel's hardened super hard, so we don't see a ton of edge loss or sharpness loss. The other piece is a plastic component, so that can't rust, and we've done so many cycle tests, and that's never shown to degrade or form any weakness or really break. So we've been really pleased with that result. From a manufacturing standpoint, so I kind of mentioned the unique way we're able to do this to get the aesthetic qualities out of it. So we actually went with, for the plastic component, 3D printing, and that allowed us to really get around a lot of traditional molding limitations with the design and get both the functionality and the aesthetic we wanted. If we were to do it with molding, it'd be a little bit more limited with how we were able to make it look. And we thought both were important, both the aesthetics and functionality. So I guess where I'm at right now, and to make that a little bit more concise. So we're 3D printing right now. It's awesome because it's the lowest cost of any 3D printing technology. We're using a state-of-the-art company called Carbon out of San Francisco. That's on demand. I don't have to hold a ton of inventory for that. The pricing isn't based on traditional manufacturing volume. So they charge me the same for 1,000 parts if they do 10,000 parts. So I have a low inventory model there. I just pay a little bit more for it. If I were to go to injection molding, I'd be able to get my costs down, but I might have to sacrifice some of the aesthetic nature of the product, and I'm not sure I want to do that. The blade's super easy. The cost can be reduced pretty substantially, and there's really no manufacturing limitations there. It'd just be more of ordering in higher volumes. So hopefully that made sense, and hopefully I answered that question.
Great. There are thanks for that. There are some questions about distribution. So you're doing Shopify right now.
Yeah.
What are the directions to go there, and what is possible as I assume right now a solo entrepreneur?
Yeah.
So sporting goods stores. There are some questions about offering it for charter fishing operations. Any other things like that? What's distribution look like for you in the future?
Yeah, great question. So I was limited to just Shopify and direct to consumer just because of still looking to scale the supply chain and manufacturing and from a cost standpoint. But really, this slide kind of summarizes kind of the steps I would take in order. So going from Shopify, my next step would be Amazon. That's easy. The only reason I haven't done that is because of I want to make sure I have inventory, because if I run out of inventory on Amazon, I'll be punished by the algorithm. But that'd be an easy move, not necessarily easy, but that'd be a logical next move. And I'd probably beat the sales I'm currently doing my website on Amazon because it's such a big marketplace. The next step after that would be the wholesale market. And that really is cost dependent. So right now I need to make them, a little bit cheaper to be able to afford to do the wholesale business. So I have been approached by the buyer team at Fish USA, which is one of the top 2 largest online tackle retailers in the country. And I've also had other interests, but I haven't been able to entertain any of those deals just because of the nature of the product cost right now. I've also had line cutters call me. He was a Shark Tank company. He had a deal with Damon John, and he sells his product he's probably my closest competitor. He sells his product in Walmarts and Bass Pros and Cabela's and all sorts of different places. He approached me for a licensing deal, something that was non-exclusive where he could private label. And we chatted about that. But then again, like I said, I need to get my costs down and get my supply chain made more turnkey before I can entertain those. But there's a lot more besides just Shopify and Amazon. There's a ton of retail partners, and there's a lot of other smaller ones besides Fish USA. That's just a big one that's I've spoken to, and so that's exciting potentially for the future.
Thank you, Gage. And that's all the time we have for the Q&A with Tin Man. If you want to stop sharing your screen, we'll move on to the next startup. Saber Supplies, if you want to share your screen.
No, it's asking for a friend.
I'm sorry, asking for a friend. I apologize. Asking for a friend. Share your screen and we'll get started.
Can everyone see the screen? Is it shared? Awesome.
Here's some. All right. So, hello everyone. So one of the hardest things about traveling is knowing where to go and finding a place that'll make a trip memorable. With the now hopefully ending COVID-19 pandemic, we all want to get back to a sense of normalcy and make sure that our trips are serving us as best as possible. As we all know, one of the best ways to ensure that our time and money is spent well is to ask for a friend. When we came together this semester, we looked no farther than a problem that we all happen to share. One of our teammates, Olivia, helped us realize that finding a novel and trustworthy travel experience isn't an easy task. And as someone in a long-distance relationship, she's constantly struggling to find fun things to do with her partner in between Southern Ohio and Detroit. So we took it upon ourselves to create a solution to help Olivia and other experienced seekers as well, and trying to find the most value out of their next trip. Clearly, reliability is a critical part of travel. Over 60% of our survey respondents noted that one of the most difficult parts of traveling. And how do we ensure that our trips are reliable? Well, according to 94% of respondents, the best way is through recommendations of friends and family. Over 70% of respondents also noted that novelty of experience is another important factor when making travel decisions. So we made it our mission to create a company that incorporates both trust and novelty to best meet the needs of our customers.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joanna, and along with Gio, Grace, Madeline, Peyton, and Olivia, we're proud to present a new mobile application platform called Asking for a Friend. Our idea is all based on helping those experience seekers find hidden gems in communities by creating a more trustworthy and engaging travel review platform. But let's acknowledge the obvious. There's Yelp, there's Google reviews, there's so many more apps out there that serve a similar purpose. So how is our app different? Well, it all comes down to customer experience. With Olivia's long distance relationship, she is constantly on the lookout for new and exciting things to do, but the current options out there aren't helping. That is until she discovers Asking for a Friend through one of her favorite travel TikTok influencers. Curious, she downloads the app and creates a profile, selecting her personal travel preferences. Several of her friends are already on the app, so she spends some time exploring, discovering their past trips and experiences in a collection of content called Trip Highlights. She discovers that this app is different. The content is more engaging, filled with TikTok-style videos and fun imagery, and personal, with recommendations from her friends and highlights of the more human elements of experience like location vibe and common activities. As she explores, she saves experience to her lists to refer back to later. She even discovers some new places around her hometown she didn't know about before. When she takes a trip, she compiles her own trip highlights to share her experiences with friends. Olivia is looking forward to date nights that are easier to plan because now all she has to do is turn to her friends or use the random experience generator, which automatically suggests a fun day full of hidden gems. If Olivia opts to pay a small fee of $2.99 for the premium subscription, she'll have the opportunity to make her travel experiences even more worthwhile, with access to features like a collaborative bucket list and exclusive discounts from partners. By using Asking for a Friend, Olivia has become a more confident, definitive, and adventurous traveler. Now she doesn't have to ask the question of what to do on her date nights, and never has to second guess the trustworthiness of a reviewer again.
So what is our secret sauce behind this all? Well, it's a combination of our novel features as well as innovation in app development and building trust in our company and our platform. We know the hurdles that exist in creating a new app, especially one that relies on a lot of people to get involved. But that's the challenge we took on. And we know that our idea helps solve a real problem for our customers, a lack of trust and novelty in existing review platforms. So here are some of the costs associated with our app. Based on Crowdbotics, our app will cost within the range of $16,000 to $20,000 to finish its development for iOS and Android. During our first year, our average cost per customer will be around $3.50 based off of our marketing costs. But this cost will go down over time when we utilize more word-of-mouth advertising. Here's how we're going to finance Asking for a Friend. Due to all the costs we just talked about, we're seeking a $100,000 initial investment. As you can see, we can expect a majority of our users to be utilizing the free version of the app. We'll be making our money off of advertisements within it, as well as similar to how Waze does it, and companies that promote themselves to become a top search result. Our projections are based off of the assumptions that we can get 2 companies to run ads for every 1,000 users.
But don't take our word for it. We talked to 106 users and asked in-depth questions to have them validate our idea. And in a nutshell, they loved it. As we had assumed, many people had similar sentiments about travel and building trust, especially post-pandemic. But we know that an app that emphasizes trust and engaging user experiences will ultimately succeed. So let's take it back to Olivia. Like all of us, we're all excited for what the future holds and returning back to normal. Through using our platform, Olivia and users alike will have trustworthy experiences on upcoming trips that will last a lifetime.
And like we all have learned from being a part of the amazing entrepreneurship program, it's all iterative. We're going to be continuing to learning about our users and what's best in the travel space and how we can all create engaging experiences that will last a lifetime. So thank you for tuning in, and always remember, when in doubt, ask for a friend. So we have about 1:40 left, and we'd love for you to experience the prototype yourself. So grab your phone, scan the QR on the screen, and we'll see how we're going to revolutionize travel for thousands of people. And at the end of our time, we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Friend.
Great, thanks. So one of the core questions that we have is, what problem are you really solving? How are you making this more trustworthy? Why is this better than these other platforms where you can get lots of reviews on things that have already happened? And we also have more micro competitors that go beyond Yelp and Google. You have all of the travel guides that are, that are time tested. You have other apps that already offer some of these features. Why are you different? How are you building that trust? Why would I pay for information I can find for free?
Great questions. I think the first thing that I want to address is just basically what the problem we're solving is. And we touched on it a little bit with Olivia's situation where, even though the review apps out there do provide a lot of great information, a lot of times there's a lot of it, and the reviews that you're getting aren't from people that you trust. I know personally, when I look at a review, I start to question, is this person really the most trustworthy reviewer, or were they just commenting on this because they were especially angry or especially satisfied with their experience? Usually the average person that encounters like these experiences out in the world, they don't take the time to review them. But the beauty of this platform and how it's more oriented towards a social aspect where you're engaging with your actual social network, it allows you to share your own experiences. It kind of takes what Instagram travel photography accounts and current TikTok travel reviews are and puts them into a set platform. So people now want to share what they're talking about. And so that, number one, diminishes the extreme differences in those reviews, but also enables you to actually get reviews from people that you know and trust, just like it would be if you got a verbal recommendation from one of your friends.
So I have two follow-up questions that are coming on here. One, how would you scale the platform and get additional reviews about these scenarios if you're keeping it limited to just your social network? And that brings up the next question. If it is limited to my social network, why don't I truly just go ask my friend instead of paying?
Yeah. So number one, how we populate this is, so when a person doesn't have many friends on the app, we can take general reviews that people are leaving. So we'll prioritize content that comes from friends and make sure that people are engaged. But in that general homepage and the individual of different places can be reviewed. If there isn't a lot of content there just created by their friends, we'll try to bring in stuff from general users that are using that app. And then the second question was, again, can you remind me?
Yeah, so if it is limited to my social network, then why wouldn't I actually just go ask my friend instead of paying for the information?
Yeah, well, the initial app itself is primarily free because we understand that usually when people are downloading an app, they don't really have the desire to pay for something that they can get for free. Really, our primary source of revenue is going to come from in-app advertisements, and that premium version is going to be more focused on the people that are using this app a lot and are craving new features that will help them to continue to enhance their experience. So really, this just takes all of the recommendations from their friends that they would typically get, but have to take more work to go and find, and puts it into one place.
And if I may add, additionally, if you are not following or interested in following just the people that you know, you can also look to influencers that will be within the app. So people that you're interested in, people whose opinions you value and maybe that you admire. So that could be a good portion to look up to.
And that's all the time we have for asking for a friend. Thank you. Next up, we have Saberhagen Supplies. Saberhagen Supplies. You can go ahead and share your screen, and we'll start the clock when you start pitching.
Alrighty, everyone good on the screen? Awesome. Alrighty. So hello, everyone, and I'm very excited to share my company, Saberhagen Supplies, with you today. We are the largest marketplace for Roblox game developers. So before I dive into the problem that we address as a company, let's talk a little bit about what Roblox actually is. So Roblox is the YouTube of the gaming industry, meaning that anyone can upload their games and content to Roblox in the same way that people upload videos to YouTube. It's that easy. Roblox is one of the world's largest gaming platforms with 150 million monthly players that engage with each other on over 50 million games that are created by over 10 million game developers. Roblox has more games on their platform than Xbox, PlayStation, Google Play, Apple's App Store, Steam, Nintendo, and all the other gaming platforms combined, multiplied by a few multiples. As Roblox has exploded in popularity over the years, more and more game developers have arisen on the platform with the ambition of creating the next big game. A game developer that creates a successful game on Roblox can make hundreds of thousands of dollars in their teens to the upper 25s and become famous on the platform and generate millions of followers. However, building a game on Roblox can be incredibly difficult, and on average, it takes weeks and hundreds of hours. The reason it takes this long is because game developers have to painstakingly seek out digital products to populate their games with. To build these products themselves for their games can take weeks, which can be a major setback for a game developer's journey. Imagine spending 50 hours building a ceiling fan for your game. Most developers, they don't want to do that. They find that to be a waste of their time, as they rather would be focused on the more important aspects of game development, such as world and community building. Often, since developers don't want to build these products themselves, they will buy these products from other developers in shady chat channels and basically hope they don't get scammed or sold stolen products, which happens frequently. These dodgy chat channels are synonymous with scamming, and because they're simply chat channels, they don't offer any protection to the buyer or the seller. These chat channels are like the Wild West. There's zero moderation on what's going on there. We're uniquely suited to address this problem. Gavin Tang is our specialized web developer and Roblox API expert. And we have 4 other freelancers working on our product readiness team. And I'm the founder and CEO. I've been a game developer on the Roblox platform for over 8 years, and my games have hundreds of thousands of plays, and I've worked on hundreds of games during my time. The struggle to obtain these digital products for my games has been a constant headache for me and all of my game developer friends. Out of my immense frustration with how difficult it is to purchase these digital products in a safe and easy way, I created Saberhagen Supplies, and we are the ultimate third-party platform for Roblox game developers with over 1,600 product listings, purchasing in both PayPal and virtual gaming currencies, and our platform has been built to be as developer-friendly as humanly possible. Our platform operates within a rapidly growing market. The 10 million game developers on Roblox spend on average over $220 annually on their games, making up a market of over $2.2 billion that's being spent on digital products in shady chat channels. So let that sink in. We have a foothold in this market with over 25,000 in current revenue and over 650 verified dedicated users on our platform. The average price of a digital product on our platform is $25, but our products range from $2.50 all the way to $150 currently. To retain customers long-term, it's essential that we play an active role in the games they choose to develop throughout their years as a game developer. And game developers are incredibly prolific. They're working on over 6 new games a year. And this gives us many opportunities to play an important role in that servicing. And we've already proven that our game developers are using our platform for all their games that they're working on throughout this year by our over $50 customer lifetime value. We have a reputation as the top marketplace for Roblox game developers, and we've received hundreds of positive reviews from our customers. Our enthusiastic customers are relieved that they have finally been able to find a place where they can safely buy these digital products. Our competitive landscape has been heating up recently with 2 other platforms releasing that are in beta like ours. Not only were we the first mover in this space, we have significant advantages over our competitors. Neither of them offer users the ability to integrate their Roblox profiles, which is incredibly important. Our users want to be able to continue their personas from Roblox to our platform and be able to interact with their friends. We're the only platform with over 500 listings that also offers users the ability to purchase in PayPal and virtual gaming currency, which is proprietary technology that we developed. In short, our competitors just walked out of their caves and discovered fire, and we're already on our way to the moon. So what's next? We're developing the full release of our platform, which will include seller functionalities and tons of new features that have been designed based on the feedback that we've received from our users while in beta. Following our full release, we'll be listing over 10,000 of our own products that we currently have in storage on our platform, which is over $250,000 in inventory. All the products currently listed on our platform are sold by our company exclusively. And one of the major insights that we've discovered through our users is that not only do they want to be buyers on our platform, they want to be sellers. They want to monetize their own creations. They want to make money. So once we introduce the seller functionality to our platform, we'll collect 30% of every seller sale and 100% on our own earnings from our digital product listings. That 100% on our listings is because those products are built by me and developers that have worked for me over the years. Our go-to-market plan includes a mix of both paid and organic strategies, including influencer marketing, partnerships with major Discord server owners, Google search, video advertising, brand ambassadors, optimizing our SEO, and automating our social media so that we can continue to engage with our users in meaningful ways. To accelerate the gap between us and our competitors, we're raising a $125,000 pre-seed round, which we will use for our marketplace development, security, marketing, legal, and onboarding processes. With our very low cost per click and our release of our marketplace, we'll be able to generate over $50,000 in monthly recurring revenue and continue to scale. We're also looking to connect with game developers, marketplace experts, metaverse enthusiasts, investors, and accelerators. Thank you for your time. And if you'd like to reach out to me, you can shoot me an email at saberhagensupplies@gmail.com. And if you have an interest in future releases and updates from our company, you can sign up for our newsletter at bit.ly/SaberhagenNews. And I'm excited to address your questions.
I think we're all taking notes as you talk, Blake. Thanks. I'll turn it over to our moderators.
Thanks, Blake. As someone who lives with two middle schoolers, I get what you're saying about Roblox. It's exciting. Can you tell us about if I'm a developer who's looking to see the results of using your system? I get the features, but what does it mean for me in terms of hours spent, dollars and cents? If I'm running this as a business, how can this help me grow my business as a developer? Can you have any notion about results that your customers might expect?
Yeah, so I'll actually parallel this with the journey that I kind of went through. I used to be one of those developers that was selling in those marketplace channels. And that is a massive pain. Everything's manual, nothing's automated. Every time somebody buys something, you have to email them the product. That is not scalable. And it takes hours and hours and hours going through all that work to copy and paste your little posts and your pictures. It's a total mess. One of the things that we really offer developers is the opportunity to join a platform where not only are their products going to be advertised by us when we advertise our platform, so they're getting access to our channels, they're also going to have everything automated on their end with a really easy listing process and getting 70% of those earnings. And that 70% is on those PayPal sales. They're going to collect 100% on the gaming currencies as well. So we're offering them an opportunity basically where they just get onboarded, ready to go, everything's easy, and they're going to start making money right off the bat.
Great, thanks.
Welcome.
We have some questions around the product itself and what that really consists of. What do you own? Do you create something and then can you sell multiple copies of that? And if you could just kind of walk us through that.
That's a great question. So anything that you build on Roblox distributes 100% of that IP to you as the user. So you can do whatever you want with it. You can sell it, you can destroy it, you can build with it, you can do anything you want with it. So what's awesome is that has created the secondary economy where users are able to monetize on those products. And those products, they're comparable to 3D models. So they're made of tons of different small, intricate parts. Sometimes, like I mentioned before, a ceiling fan can have 500 little individual parts that are built in a secondary platform called Roblox Studio. And that's where these 3D models are built. And users can easily download their models and download their products, these digital products, and email them to other users as files. So the same way that you would send a PDF to a friend or family, you can send this file. And that's how users basically exchange products with each other. And there's an unlimited usage as well. So there's no, you only get one time to use this product. This is a product that is everlasting, the same as your PDF file will be. And users are often very excited by the opportunity that their product never expires and they can use it as many times as they want during their game development journey.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Great. We also have some questions around the intellectual property of the product. How do you plan on protecting it, and can others come in and replicate this?
Sure. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on is that we have proprietary technology around all of our competitive advantage features. It would be very difficult for a competitor to replicate our product because we are the first ones that have figured out how to accept Robux, which is the digital currency on the platform, as a form of payment and validate that on a third-party platform. So we have proprietary technology around that. And not only that, but we have proprietary technology around the way that we field the products and the way that we scan the products to make sure our users are safe using them. We have a proprietary security system that's over 6 layers that allows users to run their products through that system when they're posting on our platform. And that's going to be a big part of our next version. We also have proprietary technology around the integration of users' accounts. So we built a technology where we can take advantage of some different gaming APIs to build out this whole transitioning system where users can get all of their account information from Roblox, absent of passwords, and load that onto the platform. So they're able to continue that persona, that personality they've built up as a game developer on that platform, and continue that and leverage that as a seller or a buyer on our platform.
So this last year, we've seen how lots of vendors, for example, on Amazon, maybe have a great risk of being tied to a single platform like Amazon or Roblox. What are those kinds of risks that are potential for your company? If Roblox decides to change the way business is done on the Roblox platform, is that a risk for you?
Sure. So we think a lot about this, and we build our platform around it. For Roblox to change anything that would cause our platform any harm, they would be implementing groundbreaking features for their actual game developers, and they would be severely harming the digital economy that they've built up over the years that keeps their platform running at 100% and keeps it charging ahead as the platform continues to scale. Roblox works very well with our company in terms of they are working on more and more features that are actually amicable to our involvement, to our operations of this secondary market. Roblox's S1, when they IPO'd, has a million different amazing releases that pertain to, that would allow our company to continue to grow and scale and offer even more options into the future in alignment with Roblox's plans as a company. So Roblox is a very friendly platform for users that are looking to build third-party platforms and monetize on the content.
Thank you, Blake. And that's all the time we have for questions for Saberhagen Supplies. Stop sharing your screen and we'll go next up. Our fourth startup is Chainbreak.
Hi, we are Chainbreak, a nonprofit organization providing adolescent children with a variety of resources to help break the chain of familial substance abuse. Meet our founding team, Addie, Kelsey, Kyle, Brianna, and me, I'm Maggie. But 1 out of the 5 of us will be addicted to drugs. In fact, 1 out of 4 of us was raised with a parent who has a substance use disorder, which means we were 2.7 times more likely to be physically or sexually abused, 4.2 times more likely to be neglected, and are 8 times more likely to develop a substance use disorder ourselves. To protect our own selves and our story, we'll share the story of Nick. Nick's mother is a heroin addict who's been using since before he was born. Nick has no memory of his father because he's been in jail for the possession of illegal substances since Nick was just 18 months old. In 2015, Nick's teacher reported signs of neglect and emotional abuse after he came to school wearing the same clothes and had no lunch for a week, and was terrified at the thought of changing seats when she proposed to rearrange the classroom. Although these behaviors continued for years, Nick's case was dropped by the case-appointed special advocate for a lack of evidence when his mother performed well at the home visit. Soon after, Nick started to show behaviors of aggression in the classroom, which cut ties between Nick and all of his friends and made in-school suspensions, seem routine. Today, Nick is in rehab because of his reliance on methamphetamine. There are 8.7 million children in the United States just like Nick.
So you're likely sitting here wondering, what can I do? How can I help? And that's where we like to introduce Chainbreak. Chainbreak provides children who are tangled in the parent's substance abuse multiple resources to cope with the current and future challenges that they will face. Unlike our competitors, we understand that reducing the parent-child addiction cycle takes a lot more than a slogan like "say no to drugs." Rather, we created a comprehensive 10-week playbook for 5th grade teachers to implement positive alternatives to the 6 giant factors of adult substance use. We also provide an accompanying online platform to extend the lifetime value of our program. This platform connects participating students to emergency hotlines, mentors, and additional behavioral activities that will serve them into adulthood. Consider Chainbreak a helping and sober hand for these children in their adolescent journeys. Through extensive research and interviews with teachers, social workers, sponsors, and children, Chainbreak includes activities to promote positive behaviors and various coping skills. This 10-week course includes activities that span topics such as environmental influences, self-doubt, social pressures, and coping with trauma. These healthy behavioral activities at an adolescent age can create habitual behaviors that have a direct projection on their life. The program also prepares children who live every day watching their parents struggle with addiction, understand and realize that they have a future far beyond what's in front of them, but whatever they aspire to be. One example, including the playbook, is an ice cube anxiety relief activity. This is often used by child therapists and teaches children how to redirect their anxious patterns when they feel overwhelmed. The memory bracelet activity is another tactic teachers can use on their children when they are physically a reminder of gratitude and positivity. Children will add a bead for every moment of happiness or person in their life. When the effects of their home life create negative behaviors in the classroom, teachers can help children make goals to redirect their path. Upon the completion of the Chain Break Playbook, children will have learned 30 different behavioral activities to decrease current and prevent future drug use. Now, the chain does not break off there. Beyond the playbook, Chain Break offers additional resources for students who are outside participating school districts. Our online platform allows children to make meaningful connection with trusted adults who are briefed and specialize on family substance abuse. These trained mentors are for students to look up to and provide an outlet when they have stress or difficult emotions with. The online platform also connects users to emergency substance use hotlines in local areas, like United Way. Stimulating activities that correlate with lesson plans in the playbook will also be included in the online platform. Intervention at an adolescent age increases likelihood of graduation from high school, continuing their education and reaching short and long-term goals children have set out to accomplish in their life.
So how can we get started? Before we can begin breaking the chain of familial substance abuse, we must raise $100,000 for the continuation of our curriculum development, certifications, and copywriting fees so that public school districts can implement Chain Break into their own fifth grade classrooms. This money will also cover all marketing costs, fundraising costs, online platform development, and printing fees needed to launch. With that money, we will be able to launch Chain Break chapters 1 through 3 in Youngstown, Warren, and Campbell, Ohio school districts, where drug use is statistically high in our state, impacting 831 fifth grade students. However, we do not plan to stop there. There are 3.7 million fifth graders currently in the United States, 1.85 million whom are from low-income families, which typically yield a higher drug prevalence. Statistically speaking, 460,000 of these fifth graders are living with one or more parents with a substance use disorder, which increases their risk of being physically and emotionally abused and an increased likelihood of becoming addicts in the future themselves. Over 180,000 of these children have already been reported for signs of abuse, but many are left without help, as their cases are dropped in early evaluation, just like Nick. With the help of 3 national grants, Chain Break plans to help these children and scale across Ohio, the Midwest, and the United States, aiming to have a chapter in each major US city by 2035. These grants include the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's Partnership for Success and Sober Truth Youth Intervention Grant, in addition to the National Institute of Drug Abuse's HEAL program, all aim to serve organizations who are helping children facing the effects of substance use and addiction. If awarded, Chain Break would first allocate these funds to opening chapters 4 through 9 across Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, Ohio. For each chapter, the cost breakdown models what appears on my screen. We've averaged costs for student, teacher, and the costs associated to maintain each chapter based on wholesale school supply stores and the number of fifth grade students in each district. Our localized fundraising and marketing funds will be allocated towards supporting school events, encouraging community members to donate to Chain Break, and interesting surrounding school districts to implement the program into their own fifth grade classrooms. Generating this additional capital will allow us to expand our reach and, more importantly, our impact. We are proud to announce that for just $25, you can sponsor a child in participating in Chain Break. These $25 have immeasurable outcomes, including helping these children through the trauma of their current day-to-day, decreasing the likelihood of becoming addicts in the future, like many of the adult figures in their life, and rebuilding our community, which on a large scale decreases the need of drug intervention, which our country spends $600 billion government dollars on annually.
The Chain Break 10-week playbook and online platform have the power to help break the chain of familial substance abuse. By providing healthy alternatives to situations that lead to addiction, we help children navigate their difficult life experiences now and all throughout their adolescent journey. For only $25, we have the opportunity to help children like Nick, but we must act now. Thank you. We are now open to any questions.
Thank you, Chain Break. Questions?
We have some questions. If you could help us just sort of understand who signs up for this, who uses this. Have you conducted any interviews there, and what reactions have you received?
Sure. And part of that, Mark, is actually capitalizing on our competitors' faults. So right now, DARE is being removed from many public school districts as their behavioral results and outcomes were deemed statistically insignificant. So right now, we need to capitalize on the window that public school districts are looking for an alternative intervention for helping children who are at risk of substance abuse related issues. Additionally, we wanted to start in Ohio as Governor Mike DeWine launched the, let's see, I'm blanking the name, the Success and Wellness Initiative, which was a $650 million grant that was put towards helping students in public school districts with the outcomes related to mental health, drug problems with their family, etc. So we would be partnering with these school districts, public school districts, which are regulated obviously by the state, to implement this playbook with teachers already teaching in their classrooms.
And have you been able to follow up with any of the school districts or those that make the decision and sort of understand that process? And if so, how does that work?
Absolutely. We've conducted some interviews with teachers, all of the adolescent age, so really 3rd through 5th grade. And the results of pitching Chain Break to them was great. We got some great validation talking about how these behavioral activities would be helpful for these children at risk with parents with one or more parents with substance use or addiction, but also for other children just going through generalized anxiety or where this problem hasn't manifested as strongly as it has in other cases. So for one of the teachers that we worked closely with, she referred us to their vice principal of their middle school, which handles all adolescent punishments, for lack of better words, and all campaigns or initiatives surrounding mental health, drug, or other problems that are surfacing in their school.
Thank you.
So as a nonprofit, how do you plan on measuring performance? And how do you plan on outperforming something like the DARE program that was around for years and was nationwide, but wasn't able to make a statistically significant impact?
So that can be done with either, we have not had any outcomes yet because we are a startup, but I think that we can put that into the works and see what it is like. I know that DARE was not as successful as Maggie was talking about before, but again, tackling on those roadblocks if they didn't match, I think we can do that in that way.
So even though schools are interested and I think they'll be sympathetic to what you're doing, getting into schools is really hard. That's come up several times in the chat, right? It takes a long time. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of hurdles that you have to get over. How are you going to do that? And can you survive as a company or as an organization long enough to where you can be in those schools and be self-sustaining?
Yeah, again, I think that goes back to that original point that right now, many public school districts and private schools who are, creating campaigns to promote the initiatives of healthy behaviors, especially around mental health. There's a lapse there that we, if worked quickly enough, can really fulfill. And we believe that because DARE is being pulled from school districts and those school districts are looking for something else to implement, getting in there and starting Chain Break for at least 10 weeks is the first step for creating a partnership with the school. I'm going to pass it off to my teammate Kyle because there's other social initiatives, especially in our ecosystem around Cincinnati, that help to build these programs out and raise money that can help us create more meaningful partnerships with school districts.
Absolutely. We have mentioned several grants. Grants are a great option for us, but also impact investing in the area and across the country. We gained access through class to a database of pure investor groups that all want to help impact-related startups grow and scale. And they were all sorted based on the type of impact that they focus on. So for us, that can be youth, and that can be working on drug prevention. So there's plenty of options for us to scale in that area. And then something that's come up a lot in the chat is partnering with organizations, things like the YMCA or other organizations in the little ecosystems like we mentioned across Ohio to further develop, gain credibility, and access more potential customers.
Thank you, Chainbreak. That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you very much. Next up is, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Byam.
Yep, that's correct.
You're up. You can share your screen, and we'll start the clock when you start pitching.
All right, can you guys see this? All right, thank you guys for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk about my company. My name is Avery Jenkins, and I'm the founder of Biome. And our mission is to create durable, innovative, and affordable transportable kayaks that allow our customers to have unique experiences in their environment. Overall, we want to reconnect the modern consumer to their environment, their biome. A little bit about our team. My name is Avery Jenkins, and I'm the founder. Our engineer, Matt Ferdinand, designs our products and our systems of manufacturing. And Don Ginsberg is our supply chain and logistics. A little bit about our market segmentation. Our customers are located near bodies of water. They're living in coastal cities. They live along major rivers, and they live and we found this out through our research, they live on the Northeast and the West Coast. They enjoy outdoor recreation. They're active, or they're seeking to be. And some of their hobbies include hiking, kayak fishing, and kayaking, and they spend time outdoors. Overall, though, they prioritize convenience, they value experiences, and they value innovation and affordability in what they spend money on. They enjoy hobbies for fitness and social aspects, and they like their products to be eco-friendly. Overall, though, they value ease of transportation, convenient storage in their kayaks, and portability in the product, and a lasting product. So here's our prototype. We went with a two-piece design. It's a kayak backpack, so you can fit items inside, and it is not folding, so it's more durable than our competitors, which I'll get to in a minute. But overall, we wanted it to be affordable, eco-friendly, and in its design and materials, and durable. And we also patented our design. We patented the two-piece connection system and the kayak backpack design because we believe that is our marketing niche, and I'll get to that in a minute. And since then, we've also made some changes to our design. We want this to be able to perform in rougher and deeper water, and eventually we want to test in the whitewater market. So here's a kind of a brief overlook at the market and our competitors, which I'll dive deep into in a second. But overall, the main differences between us and the competitors is material, function, and location and price. Our main competitor is Oru Kayak. Their floor price is $899 and their ceiling is $2,100. Their material is made out of a corrugated plastic, and it's located, and their locations for their products are mainly calm water and oceans. Their durability, however, they are a folding kayak, a folding product, meaning the folds endure more wear over time. It has a limited amount of folds, and it's less puncture resistant with a thinner material. On the opposite side, our company, our product is $550 MSRP. Our material is a composite material, meaning it's more durable. And it's right now we are testing calm water and oceans, but in the future we want to expand, like I said, into the whitewater market. Because it doesn't fold, it only connects in the middle at one point. It takes less wear over time, meaning it's a more durable, lasting product. And with its composite nature and hardcore design, it's more puncture resistant. And another point of competition is our assembly time. Our product assembles under 30 seconds every time, and Oru Kayak's product assembles in 2 to 4 minutes. Another product is of a similar design to Oru. It's a thin folding plastic design, TugTech, and it's costed at $350. This is pretty much the market floor for folding kayaks. However, it's a lot less durable than the competition, with only 1,000 to 2,000 folds, and it still has that long assembly time. And another competitor in the scape is inflatable, foldable kayaks. Boat is one of them. Their price is $10.99. They're inflatable, and they can be used in all types of water. Their durability, however, it's a little bit more durable than composite, but it does have a shorter lasting life because it's inflatable and is prone to ruptures or popping. And the assembly time can be longer because you need a pump whether it's manual or electric. So our total addressable market is all water and outdoor recreational enthusiasts. The service available market, which 48% of is located in North America, are just kayak fans, and the service obtainable market are kayak users lacking the transportation or the storage for a full-size kayak. So our customers lack the size in their storage and the size of transportation. And so overall, the convenience is a point. So we founded last June, and between June and December, we had an investment round. We obtained our initial prototype design and patented it. And we also began construction on our prototype. And in the last 6 months, we finished construction, we finished testing our prototype, and we started moving in to develop our consumer level model, develop our manufacturing system, and begin to plan out our supply and distribution. And we plan on pre-launching and crowdfunding in June. And here's a little bit more information about that. So our campaign goal on Kickstarter is 300,000, and we believe we can sell 625 units at $480 a piece, which is a 14.5 discount off our MSRP. And because 48% of the global kayak market is located in the United States, we can save on shipping costs by just taking orders in the lower 48 states. We also have a manufacturing plan set up with our engineer, and we're looking into more detailed costs now. But we believe after crowdfunding, we can enter the market organically, paying off our fixed engineering costs, drastically reducing our expenses and increasing our profit. And so that will come with room to expand and pivot. And so at this point, I can take some questions. And if you want to reach out to us, the email is at the bottom. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Great,
Questions?
thank you. So one of the things that we're getting a lot of questions around is what specific market problem are you solving here? Is there a huge demand for foldable kayaks? Is it what are we solving?
Okay, so overall, the folding kayak market was higher in gross revenue than the rigid and inflatable kayaks. But however, the problem we're solving is a lot of people who are living in cities, living in apartments or rental properties, or they don't have a big enough car or roof rack for a full-size kayak. And so the problem is these consumers essentially are left out of the kayak experience because they just can't make it work. So our product, it is a lot more convenient in transportation. It fits in a standard car seat or a trunk. And you can also, it's a backpack, so you can put it on your back. And so people who essentially don't want to have to lug a big kayak from their car and launch it, they can just put it on their back, put the stuff they're taking in the backpack and get going. So those are the problems we're attempting to solve.
So there's some questions about sort of why now, right? So it looks like there's some numbers out there of total addressable market, but there's also a lot of competitors that you walked us through. Why is this the right time for your company?
Okay, well, the market right now is a little fragmented. And I really believe that right now, these competitors, I've seen them start to sell refurbished products, and I've seen a lot of negative reviews for it to come in. So I think the general trend is that people are kind of losing faith in these trendy new companies that came out like 5 years ago. And so we wanted to focus on taking the idea of a transportable kayak and making it like the best possible product we could, so we can develop like a future and maintain the company space and in the long term take it over. So it's fragmented right now, and there is a need for a new product because the problem isn't being solved right now. And also, if I could add one more thing, I didn't really fully touch on the affordability as our competition point, but generally these products are super expensive. So there are a lot of people left out not being able to afford these sort of products, a transportable kayak.
So are you going after somebody that's already been a kayaker, it just happens to be an urban dweller? Or are you introducing a new marketplace to the joys of kayaking?
So I would say a little bit of both. Firstly, a lot of people, when they start to enter the mind process of going through if they can afford a kayak and if they can really like handle that kayak, they realize that they don't have the space at their home and they don't have the transportation size or the storage for it. So, and that stops a lot of people from entering this space. So we're going after those people and we're going at them with a more affordable product with more functions and more durability. And we're also kind of going for the people that have entered and bought into this space and might not be happy with those products.
Is renting an option for them, and why wouldn't they just rent?
So renting is an option, and a lot of people like that option because they don't have to pretty much take it home with them. But with a rental, you're confined to a certain space, a certain track where you're kayaking. With this product, you can pretty much go anywhere. You can take it when you're hiking. A lot of hikers want to kind of like go across the river or see a new spot. So the rental kayaking experience doesn't necessarily equate to the full kayaking experience because it's limited to that location. And it's also it's not a long-term sort of thing. It's more of a trip, one time, couple time things with your friends.
And that's all we have, all the time we have for Biome. Thank you, Biome. Next up is Margam VC. Margam, you're up. Rishi, I don't know if you're muted, but if you started, you need to restart.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. My bad. We are Margam, and we are a new pathway to acquisition entrepreneurship. Margam in my native tongue Telugu means pathway, and it's usually used in the context of creating a pathway to success. And that's exactly what we are doing today. You see, there are 31.7 million small businesses that employ over 60 million people nationwide. That's over 50% of the US workforce. And 41% of these small businesses are owned by baby boomers, and 46% are owned by Gen X. There's just one issue with this. Baby boomers are on average 63 years old, and the Gen X population is reaching 55 to 56 years old. This population is on the cusp of retiring, and even though some of them will be passing on their businesses to their friends and family, more than 50% of America's small businesses and business operators are looking to transition away from their business within the next 15 years. That's over 15 million businesses nationwide.
So there are two primary ways to become an entrepreneur. You can build a business or you can buy a business. Entrepreneurship through acquisition, or ETA, refers to the process of buying a business to run. A person or group interested in ETA will probably set up an organization called a search fund, which aims to buy at least one business and operate it for the long term. ETA is an emerging market with limited technology readily available for newer searchers or search funds, and we are creating the tools to help them succeed. Margam is an online CRM-like platform that helps searchers find businesses more efficiently via a threefold solution through data aggregation, lead management, and executive placement. Our data aggregation strategy will consolidate open source APIs of LinkedIn, PitchBook, and other publicly available data. We differentiate ourselves from competitors by continually offering benchmarking services for searchers and companies using our product. In other words, they are able to see anonymized information about their competitors. The inside sales team will also be heavily involved in the data aggregation side by building contacts with both business owners and searchers. Next, anyone interested in ETA is likely going to have to target hundreds of businesses for around 2 years via a CRM system. It can be overwhelming to keep track of. Finding the most efficient way to create and maintain these relationships as a searcher is crucial. Our lead management tools will plug into an existing email account, calendar, and other personal organizational tools to make this process more efficient and effective. Finally, a key differentiator of Margam is the post-transaction value that we offer. The executive placement strategy will be crucial for searchers who acquire a business and then are looking for the right talent to help them operate. We help searchers find these individuals and place them. In short, Margam is the intermediary between search funds and small businesses, and search funds will be buying our product. We make the painful process of going through thousands of listings, looking for company information, and sourcing executives easier.
This isn't a small market. It's actually a market poised to grow. Search funds are wedged between venture capital firms and buyout capital firms. And according to the Stanford Graduate School of Business, in the last 10 years, there has been a 100% increase in the number of new search funds raised. The search fund industry is at the focal point of a hockey stick, and it is on the point to exponentially grow.
This is a massive market. According to the University of Chicago Booth, the total addressable market of entrepreneurship through acquisition is $1 trillion. So we target America's search funds through achieving referrals from boutique professional services firms, including accounting firms, law firms, and financial advisory firms. We generate revenue in 3 ways. So first, we charge a subscription fee for our services of $499 per year. Second, we take a finder's fee of 1% for any deals that originate on our platform. Finally, we charge an executive placement fee of 25% of the first year's salary for the executive placed. As we grow, these are the primary metrics that we'll be evaluating ourselves with. So we have the referral rate, the average transaction value of the businesses and deals, the lead conversion ratio for the search funds involved, and the business's ARR. So as Margam grows, we expect these metrics to increase.
But Margam doesn't end here. We have 3 pathways to grow. First, after a discussion with Mike Fitzgerald, a partner at High Alpha, a premier venture studio based in Indianapolis, he explained that the next logical step for the venture studio industry is to begin acquiring startups that have gone stagnant and meet their investment thesis. With our existing data aggregation and lead management software, we would be able to penetrate the industry and create direct value add as the venture studio industry begins acquisition entrepreneurship. Second, creating a 2-way platform for small businesses to post their company and easily connect with the search funds that we are trying to help. This will allow for more efficient communication and therefore increase the probability of a transaction. And finally, developing our total addressable market by marketing the lower middle market PE firms, as they have similar budget constraints to search funds and can highly benefit from our much cheaper alternative to the existing technologies in the PE industry today. Starting in mid-Q2 2021, we'll begin the development of our CRM platform, and this will end in late Q4 2021 and early 2022. Afterwards, we'll be diving deep into customer acquisition while also developing relationships with affiliate organizations like Next Gen Growth Partners. All of this will lead to Q3 2024 when Margam becomes positive EBITDA. We are looking for $350,000 for a 14-month runway. This will be for the development of our platform, the employment of our inside sales team, the perfection of our data aggregation process, as well as the hiring of attorneys to make term sheets and transaction dealing available on our platform. We are looking for an investor who can help us build relationships with existing professional service firms and can enhance our credibility as we talk to other search funds and PE firms. However, since Jake and I are building a product for investors, we wanted to mention our experience learning about the investor perspective. I've worked with the Ohio Innovation Fund, a venture firm in Columbus, as well as Miami University Social Impact Fund, another VC group here at Miami. Jake has had the chance to learn more about this problem firsthand through working with a Chicago-based search fund called Janssen Investment, and has also learned about the investor's perspective through Miami University's Venture Capital Immersion Program. But me and Jake are both finance majors and we're not programmers. That's why we brought in Sunny and Ryan. Sunny and Ryan are programmers out of Purdue University and have a wide and plethora of knowledge for full stack and lead integration, taking care of the backend development of Margam as well as the UX UI.
To help us grow our business and enhance our credibility during our customer acquisition strategy specifically, we've built a team of 9 expert advisors. Many of these people are experts on ETA and really understand the Midwest business ecosystem. Our mission is to help people live out their entrepreneurial dreams. We are Margum, a new pathway to acquisition entrepreneurship. Thank you, and we now welcome any questions.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you. So there's a lot of excitement about the potential size of this market, as you covered, and you want to get to 500, looks like 500 successful outcomes, right, by 2024. What does it look like to get there, though? If you say it's a huge market or gigantic, that doesn't help us. We'd like to understand more about sort of like, what do customers, 1 through X look like? Who are you targeting? Is this certain kinds of firms to get started? Is it kind of a green pasture here where you're looking for newly forming firms that are enabled by you? Can you tell us just more about that launch and growth strategy at the beginning?
Absolutely. So I think that's a great question, and I'd love to take this opportunity to talk more about our launch strategy. So if you look at our expert advisor slide, you'll see that we had a chance to speak with a man named Jake Whitman, and he is a founder of a search fund called Ludlow Capital. And Jake got started just a few months ago with a goal to acquire a business in the Cincinnati area, and he specifically focused on manufacturing. So Jake represents the ideal customer that we would target originally. There are long-standing search funds. There are larger ones like Next Gen Growth Partners, for example. But Jake is the individual that started recently, and he's still utilizing tools that are expensive. He's still looking for the best ways to position himself as a searcher. So Jake represents the ideal search fund candidate that we would market to originally.
Thanks. So we also have some questions around helping buyers actually find funding to make the purchase. Is that part of the problem that this platform is helping solve?
That is not part of the problem that we are looking at. We are, after the funding occurs, when the process of starting to find a company begins, that's where we start adding value. We have a slide here that shows where Margum actually adds value. After the raising of initial capital, Margum steps in so that the companies can start reaching out to target companies. Then after the letter of intent is sent out to business owners and the negotiation begins, we take a step back until the operational side, where we have our key differentiator through executive placement. So we are post raising initial capital, and then we help solidify and streamline the acquisition process until the letter of intent.
Can you talk a little bit about if there's one piece of this transaction line that you can really make a difference in, and you've got a lot of players, and there's a little bit of complication. There's lots of relationships that are pretty trusted here. If there was one piece of this transaction line where you could really make a difference, where would that be?
Data aggregation.
Yeah, so Rishi beat me to the punch. I'd say in that due diligence phase, the data aggregation is crucial. And if you are a searcher and you're just getting started, most of the time you have a runway of about 2 years. And if you took your investors' money, you're really just covering your own expenses, you're traveling places. If you're not working with investors, if it's only your own money, then again, that 2-year runway is very limited. So it takes time to sift through the thousands of companies that you might be interested across the United States. So the data aggregation would be the primary value add that Margum offers to searchers.
So some comments from the judges about, so this is an ambitious and complicated kind of plan to get started. What are the key things that you're going to need to be watching for in terms of risk factors and success metrics as you go forward, especially in these early stages? How will we know that? How will we know when this? When will we know, and how will we know this was a good idea?
Excellent. Yeah. So we talked about our key metrics earlier on. So, we're looking at a high referral rate. That's one of our goals. Having more organic growth, especially from a marketing perspective, cuts down on the work that our inside sales team will have to do, because that inside sales team, they're only people and they have limited hours they can work in a week, right? So we're looking for more organic growth. As far as risk factors, I would say that it's tough to define because we've shown that the market of search funds is growing exponentially, especially with the funds that are being raised. I would say that as far as risk factors go, maybe like a more macroeconomic thing, like a recession. Hopefully there's not another global pandemic coming around, but I think there is a large number of people who are more interested in entrepreneurship. They don't necessarily have an idea that they can build for, but they have the capital and perhaps previous experience that make them an effective operator. And these people start search funds, and those are the people that we're marketing toward.
Thank you, Morgan. That's all the time we have for questions. You stop sharing your screen. We'll go to the next startup. Avari, you're up, and we'll start the timer as soon as you start your presentation.
Great, thank you. Okay, everyone see that? Great. Hi, my name is Ava Herman, and I am the founder of Avari XR. Over 3 million children are hospitalized in the United States each year. For many of these children, the physical pain and emotional stress of being in the hospital are severe and unrelenting. And for the children who are able to leave the hospital and grow up, the consequences of the pain that they experienced in their youth can be permanent, with lasting developmental issues, mental health conditions, and chronic pain that can impact them for the rest of their lives. But unfortunately, pain in children and adolescents is not only common, it's also largely under-recognized and undertreated. This is also true for mental health conditions. Approximately 3.2 million American adolescents experience at least one severe depressive episode each year, and rates of youth suicides have been increasing over the last decade. Now, I don't just know about these issues. I've lived them. By the time I was 12, I was suffering from the beginnings of what will likely be a lifetime of chronic pain and a number of often debilitating mental health conditions. And to cope, I would go outside. For me, to be in nature was to escape, to be in a place where I was no longer a child in pain, but instead just a child. I also have a close connection and lots of experience with healthcare, thanks to my time as both a patient and through my life growing up in a medical family. So when I realized just how important the outdoors have been for me and how lucky I was to be able to have them in my life, it became my mission to bring the power of the outdoors to the children who can't otherwise experience it. Avari designs, develops, and provides virtual reality simulations that allow pediatric patients to explore and experience the world beyond the walls of the hospital. So my connection to the outdoors didn't just allow Avari to be a work in progress for my entire life so far. It also meant that I was able to go to Colorado by myself, wake up one day at 5, and hike 11 miles to this lake to capture the 360 video that I then used to build the first Avari prototype. You can now put on a headset and feel as if you're standing right here where I stood that morning without having to climb a mountain to get there. The simulations that Avari designs and develops will be of a variety of outdoor environments and recreational activities, and will aid in improving pain management and care for a variety of mental health conditions. They'll be highly immersive with 360 visuals and audio that allow the patient to essentially escape to a place where they are distracted from their pain or stressors. And the design through every stage will allow for the simulations to fit a wide variety of patient needs and experiences and preferences. The interaction and excitement levels will cover a broad range, from peaceful environments to high energy experiences. The child can feel like they're watching the sunset on the beach or flying like a superhero through the northern lights. In offering this variety, we will be providing the simulations that are needed to help care for their pain in a therapeutic manner, while also providing them with incredible and fun experiences, both of which serving to improve their overall quality of life. So Avari brings together the 3 areas about which I am most passionate and experienced: pediatric care, nature, and technology. Our simulations will bridge the gap between virtual reality therapy and outdoor exposure therapy. VRT, virtual reality therapy, has been proven to dramatically help individuals suffering from a wide array of health conditions. And OET has been proven through clinical trials to be exceptionally powerful when paired with clinical therapy. And the pediatric staff members with whom I have personally spoke said that for the children who are able to temporarily leave the hospital, just going outside is the single most helpful non-pharmacologic action for improving their mood and general well-being. Now is the perfect time for this work. VR technology is rapidly improving, thus greatly improving both performance and accessibility, while dramatically reducing costs, a huge barrier for the market until only a couple of years ago. However, there's a lack of emphasis on content development. By focusing on developing an extensive simulation catalog, we will both help fill the gap where there's an insatiable demand for content, while also helping to pioneer the effort for new techniques of simulation design, development, and deployment. Said development aligns with a massive increase in the market. Over the next 6 years, VR in healthcare alone is expected to grow by 41% a year to reach a market value of $33 billion by 2027. So in addition to my promising secondary research, I've also gotten market validation from conversations with staff from different children's hospitals. Those from Dayton Children's, Cincy Children's, and Montana Children's confirmed their thus far limited adoption of VRT, but their keen interest in incorporating it as a key element of their palliative care in the near future. Deeper conversations with nurses, directors, and the patient technology coordinator from the C.S. Mott Children's Hospital at the University of Michigan not only echoed this and gave me excellent insights into their program, but also expressed their interest in testing my proof of concept for efficacy and in adopting Avari into their care. I've also spoken with the Mayo Clinic, and in my first conversation with them, they expressed interest in Avari and encouraged me to apply to their innovation exchange. This is a program that essentially acts as a health tech startup accelerator. As of today, I am through the first 3 of 4 rounds of the application process. And thanks to this and other opportunities for collaboration with those at Mayo, I will be moving to Rochester, Minnesota, the home of Mayo's main campus, to continue my work next month. So today we believe our go-to-market path is to be a content generator that licenses directly to healthcare. This model is shown to be successful in Applied VR, which is a company that develops animated VR simulations for adult pain management. We will likely charge on either an annual or monthly basis with an initial signing fee. And by following this model of selling directly to hospitals, we will reduce marketing costs and necessary integration of complex FDA and HIPAA regulations. I will be heavily focused on testing this model through my work with Mayo and Mott's. And this will be supported by the $50,000 that I've secured thus far, funding that will also help me to build the next 4 simulations by the end of the year. Our target market is children's hospitals and large pediatric units, but the potential for overall adoption is even larger when considering the adjacent markets. And there are countless opportunities for expansion of the content. Development of other types of simulations in care is highly promising and has potential for massive scalability. So though I didn't know how, I knew when I started college that I wanted to have a career that involved design, tech, the outdoors, and healthcare. And therefore I was very intentional in my education and experiences, and doing so has allowed me to develop the abilities to execute work and communicate effectively in these fields, as well as to build an outstanding support network. And continuing communication with those in all of these areas will be very helpful for me, ensuring the effective development in tech across all areas of the business. To maximize this, my ask today is for connections and introductions to those who can help me expand my network, especially accelerators that work with early phase startups and healthcare professionals and groups. I was fortunate enough to have been able to find the escape in nature when I needed it most. And I've spent my entire life paying attention to what it's taught me and working up to the development of Avari as it is today. I'm so excited to continue this journey and to continue to do the work so that millions of children across the country can have healthier and happier lives and climb their own mountains. Thank you, and I look forward to answering any questions.
Thank you, Ava. Questions?
Great, thank you, Ava. So we have a lot of praise coming in through the chat. But one question we do have is, who are your competitors right now? And what does that look like, kind of in the state of VR, and who you have to be looking out for?
Wonderful. Well, first, thank you very much. I appreciate it. The competitor field right now is very interesting in that there are no companies doing this with a focus on pediatrics. However, there is a lot of work being done on general healthcare development with VR. So Applied VR would be the closest competitor, but like I said, they are focusing on adult pain management, and their simulations are mostly animated, kind of game-like simulations, and are focused less on 360 video and audio. Additionally, a lot of the simulations that are being developed right now, that there are some that are being used in pediatrics. However, there is a lack of focusing on the new introductions of essentially how to start the simulation. So there's a lot of new innovations that can be done, and no one is really embracing those yet. However, I was able to, in one of my conversations, talk to someone at Mott who focuses on finding new technology to implement into their system. And even Michigan, which has a huge incentive and a lot of work that they do on mixed reality, they have only one simulation that they use in their pediatric floor. And it's actually one that many of the children do not like. It actually worsens their anxiety and makes them uncomfortable because of its very nature. So there are no direct competitors right now, but there are lots of people working in VR in healthcare to develop the technology and improve the simulations.
Could you talk us through a little bit around the content generation process? VR is a delivery platform, but you've talked about filming and that sort of thing. Could you walk us through how that process works?
Sure. So we will focus on, there will basically be kind of two different types of simulations. There will be the environment simulations where you can film it. Both of them will most likely be filmed with a very similar camera rig, where it's high quality cameras that are essentially set up in a circle to capture 360 of the video and the audio. So for the environment simulations, these will be used more for if the child has anxiety, just needs to calm down, has trouble sleeping, etc. Those will be where the child is stationary and essentially can look around the environment and feel like they are just enjoying somewhere else. And there have been a couple of these that have been just traditional 360 videos put into VR that have been proven to be very effective. The other type will be where there is much more interaction, but it's different in that it's not a video game type thing with VR, which is how most VR simulations are today. So it will be something where, like I said earlier, the child can be, feel like they're flying. It can be where they are walking, they're skiing, they're biking. It can be something where they are creating the environment. They can be interacting in choosing the colors of the sunset and like they're painting the sky. Knowing that children really like the ability to interact and have that level of increased immersion with the environment. It's something that we definitely want to focus on.
Thank you.
Cool. So you have your foot in the door with some really interesting places like Mayo. Play out that scenario for us. What does it look like to go through a pilot and then sell into a hospital system? What can you tell us about that process?
Sure. So right now we are, and I say I am the solo founder, but me and my support network, the plan is to test my prototype over the next couple of months. And then from there to be developing the new simulations that are kind of working in tandem with these new developments in VR so that we can get to the point where hopefully by the end of the year, we have the catalog initially built. By working with Mayo Clinic and with other pediatric units, with other healthcare focused tech startups and existing companies, we will be able to kind of act as a studio that services healthcare. And so by working hopefully with a cloud platform for providing to the healthcare, to the hospitals and to the units, we'll be able to have, so I can show you here, there's a lot of work that has gone into cloud computing within healthcare, as seen with EMR and EHR systems. So once we reach the point where we have created our catalog, then it will be a process of essentially providing that through a cloud system to the health systems. And by working to partner hopefully with Oculus or a similar company to get discounted deals for purchasing a headset inventory for that hospital.
Thank you, Eva. That is the last question we have for Avari.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Last startup for the evening is Bridge VR. Judges, before Bridge VR starts, judges, as a reminder, begin thinking about your top 3 list, because as we wrap up with Bridge VR, we'll go right into the voting. Bridge VR.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. We are Bridge VR, and we are bridging the gap between remote work and meaningful connections. I'm Ryan, the CEO.
I'm Will, CFO.
And I'm Will, COO. And this is my 9th birthday party. I'm surrounded by my lifelong friends, but last summer, in the middle of the pandemic, one of these friends in this picture took his own life. At the time of hearing this news of his passing, I was living alone on campus. Isolated from my friends and family back home, I was in school, but it was all remote. So on the days I showed up to class, I looked like this. When I reached out to my professor, it looked like this. Everything felt cold and personal, and I had a hard time relating and connecting to my peers. As this lack of connection and physical isolation continued throughout the semester, it turned into depression. This manifested in my work ethic, making me unmotivated and unproductive, making my grades look like this. I was failing classes, sitting at home by myself, spiraling deeper into this depression. As I graduate in 2 weeks, I will again be leaving my friends and looking for work. I found many jobs, but they're staying remote, which makes me fearful of the physical isolation returning. And we found that I'm not the only one having feelings of physical isolation contribute to depression due to remote work. Even before the pandemic sent us all home, depression was considered the second leading workplace concern. It is one of the most pervasive issues in our society today, and it's been compounded by the lack of a physical workplace.
So why was Will feeling this way? What was going on in his mind? There are 3 fundamental desires that every human needs to be met in order to be emotionally and mentally secure. These 3 are autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And while all 3 are essential, our problem deals with relatedness. Relatedness is the need for relationships, the need to connect with others, and the need to belong. The key thing to note here is that these relationships are best fostered in person. And without a sense of relatedness, you have a person in emotional isolation, or in other words, loneliness. And this is defined by a social psychology expert as when an individual's social connections are not where they desire them to be. And when you combine that with physical isolation, like remote work, you have an even harder time making meaningful connections, deepening the feeling of loneliness. Why? Because it is hard to feel connected to others and feel a deep sense of belonging when the majority of an individual's interactions are over a 2-dimensional screen, such as on Zoom. And that is why Will was feeling isolated and lonely, as the physical isolation through Zoom during online work was not meeting his need for relatedness. Loneliness is the largest factor leading to depression. And in the workplace, depression in employees can cause a lot of problems.
Depressed employees are 5 times more likely to miss work due to depressive symptoms and are 75% more likely to leave their job. These statistics represent a large amount of the workforce. 61% of adults last year reported an intense feeling of loneliness. This number is staggering, and loneliness in the workplace is costing business owners a large amount of money. Each year, employers spend a combined $44 billion on employees with depression symptoms. Employees get burnt out, leave, and companies have to onboard new people, which is a large cost. This is why the individual mental health of the employee is vital to the overall health of the company.
And this led us to our problem statement. Wouldn't it be nice if there were immersive communication tools available to companies so that their remote employees would not feel physically isolated? Because ultimately, a connected workforce is a productive workforce.
Bridge VR is an immersive virtual reality workspace that fills the need for relatedness caused by emotional and physical isolation. Bridge VR allows employees to have that connected office experience of real life while still working from home. Bridge VR is unique because we offer the virtual reality headgear needed to participate, currently one of the biggest barriers to entry in the VR space right now. Ultimately, Bridge VR's workplace software, while used with our VR hardware, creates an ability for me and people like me to make meaningful connections remotely. This fixes the effects leading to remote work depression, which will bring increased productivity.
The market we are capturing has huge potential. Remote work is here to stay. We found that almost 75% of CFOs say work will remain remote after COVID-19. Businesses largely benefit from employees working at home due to an absence of a commute and also a decreased work-life balance. We are targeting companies that work in industries whose operations are largely computerized already. Initially, to gain traction and credibility, we are targeting companies in these industries in the Midwest that have between 20 and 100 employees. We decided to focus on companies in the Midwest because there are several mid-sized cities that would benefit from Bridge VR service. After completing market research, we found that there are roughly 15,000 companies who fit our criteria of an ideal initial customer in these areas.
These are our commonly used competitors, all of which you will notice are workplace oriented, but lack the immersive features. In the top left are large scale social VR companies that are incredibly immersive, but lack workplace oriented features. And here are competitors that are both immersive and workplace oriented. It's important to note that they are significantly smaller and new to the market, but they are all collaborative. They all have software, but here's our differentiator. We're the only company able to provide an integrated platform offering software and hardware, which makes us the only company having the ability to scale, providing B2B accessibility. Because the biggest problem is that these other competitors only offer software, leaving the company a massive expense to provide each individual employee with hardware. We offer both, bringing accessibility to businesses.
During our first few months, we are going to organize a small software team to build our virtual reality platform and create a functioning website. We will also acquire 200 virtual reality headsets, which will be used during our proof of concept. From there, we will find companies in our target market and offer them a free 3-month trial to use our software and gain feedback. We charge businesses $79 per month per employee to use our software. This price includes the virtual reality headgear as well as access to our exclusive software. To help us scale our business further, we will be offering the following discounts to companies as the employee count increases. Our cost to acquire a customer is estimated to be $30,000, which may seem high, but our customer represents a company with an average of 60 employees. We have a payback period of 6 months on the VR gear, and this figure is based on our equipment and the salary of a 3-person sales team, which will be myself, Will, and Ryan. Alongside targeting states in the Midwest region, we will attend trade shows and continue to use LinkedIn marketing tools to create brand awareness for Bridge VR. We began testing already and obtained 4,000 impressions and a 0.35% click-through rate, all with just 1 week of testing.
So we're asking for $300,000 to launch Bridge VR. The investment will be used for software and website development, as well as the initial purchase of 200 VR headsets.
After we gain credibility from our proof of concept in milestone 1, Bridge VR will grow to companies across the nation, starting with Forbes' most innovative and Fortune 500 companies. This growth will require a second round of funding, but we have found that companies who invest in employee mental health see a $4 return for every single dollar invested. This is due to reduced absenteeism, fewer medical claims, and sharply reduced turnover, all caused by depression. And long term, these are just a few companies that are actively involved or actively looking into the VR space and have the potential to acquire Bridge VR.
Bridge VR is designed for all the people like me who have felt the effects of isolation while working remotely. We are Bridge VR, bridging the gap between remote work and meaningful connections. Thank you, and we'll now welcome questions.
Thank you, Bridge VR. Questions?
Thank you. Can you tell us about, the answer the does this really work kind of question, right? So does this approach, this immersive VR, using this technology, this immersive approach, does it make a dent in feelings of isolation and loneliness? Does it work?
So we are, the investment we are seeking is going to be used towards software development. But how we went about validation was talking to VR companies that exist right now that are doing similar work. And so I'll point to VR Perspectives, which is a spinoff from VR Vector. We spoke to the CEO and she talked about virtual reality as the greatest empathy tool that exists right now. And so their company is using virtual reality to change the way people have biases in the workplace. And so we've spoken with them and other companies in similar positions that talk about the power of virtual reality.
And just to kind of piggyback off that point, during our initial research phases, as sad as it is, we found that a lot of people, especially older people, don't necessarily have that friend that they can connect with. So I think you maybe be surprised to know that like in the workplace, people have those work friends, and just seeing them every day can really have a positive impact on who they are and what they do.
So it seemed like in your problem presentation that this is really geared towards worker mental health. Is that the problem that you're solving here? And if so, why virtual reality as opposed to some other way to help increase worker mental health?
So yeah, our issue is like a lack of connectivity from things like Zoom. We've kind of been on this for 2 hours, so we kind of feel the Zoom effects. But we think that VR is probably the best way right now to get people engaged. And now that it's becoming more viable, that and cost efficient, it should be brought to market.
I would also say that with COVID, a lot of big companies have kind of backed out of their leases in the coming years. So I think we found that remote work is here to stay, and remote work is going through Zoom and WebEx right now. So we just see this being a problem that'll continue into the future.
Yes. And the last thing I'll add there is yes to your question. This does tackle what the core it's tackling is the need to relate and the need to connect with others. And with work being virtual, the most immersive and the best option out there right now is virtual reality, because it's incredibly powerful and it can bring people together and connect in ways that are not being done through two-dimensional technologies such as Zoom and WebEx.
What employees have you talked to that have said, yes, virtual reality will help me feel more connected?
Will, I don't know if you want to jump in, but we talked to 2 Miami graduates, one who has started a company called, I think, Immersed VR, and another founder who started a VR company in Austin, Texas. And they gave us good validation on our problem and kind of told us that VR has evolved in the past 10 years as a switch from like purely for video games, but into a way of life. So he gave us, or the 2 of them gave us good validation on that. And then we also spoke with the head of human capital management and Farmer, and he was able to validate our idea and offer good feedbacks on what to look for.
Can you model out for us and just break down how you arrived at customer acquisition costs and lifetime value and what went into that modeling?
Will, do you want to tackle that?
Sure. So I think a large reason why our customer acquisition cost is high is because we do provide the virtual reality headgear that employees would need to use our software. That cost is currently $300 per unit. So that definitely adds to the customer acquisition cost. Along with that, we are going to have, it'll be $79 per employee per user. So that also adds another element to it. The monthly revenue that would come in would be pretty high. So we think that getting people to make the switch to our platform would require resources and a lot of time and energy.
And selling to the customer means that there's like 60 employees that they have employed with them.
And that's all the time we have for Bridge VR. Thank you very much. You can stop sharing the screen. I want to say a few words to those of you that are still with us on Facebook as you've watched the live stream of the final round of the 2021 RedHawk Venture Pitch Competition. I want to thank you for the comments. I actually had an opportunity to pop out a couple of times and see the comments and questions and observations. So I'd encourage the founders and co-founders to take a few minutes to pick those up in addition to what you'll receive in the chat. And with that, we'll tune off and say goodbye to Facebook.